Now, most people, when they think about rhyme, they think of perfect rhyme. There's actually many, many different kinds of rhyming, and we're not going to go into all of them today. We're just going to look at the most important ones that you're going to be using. So the first one is perfect rhyme. Perfect rhymes are the most common type of rhyme. They use identical vowel sounds and the consonants that follow the vowel are the same. For example, words like love and above. So the vowel sound is the ah, love, above, and the consonant following the vowel is the v. So la, v, above. Love and above rhyme perfectly. You with me so far? Other examples of perfect rhyme would be cat, bat, hat, mat, or happy, chappy, snappy, words like that. Now the pros of perfect rhyme is basically they're really satisfying. When we hear bat rhyme with mat, we feel it's very resolved. That rhymes really well. So this is why perfect rhymes can be really great at the end of a section because it gives it sort of a resolution. It feels very stable and satisfying. Make sense? But there are some cons. So for many words, there's actually not that many rhyming pairs available. For example, the word love doesn't really rhyme with that many other words or rhyme perfectly with that many other words. So thinking about love, you might have above, dove, glove, shove. That's about it. So it doesn't leave you with a lot of great options to write an original line with, does it? So what happens with perfect rhyme is often those pairs that work well, such as love and above, they get rhymed all the time. So they get put together all the time. And they start to sound cliche because we've heard those rhyming pairs a million times before. Thankfully, there is another kind of rhyme available to us as lyricists, and you're about to learn how to use it. So have you ever heard this phrase, nothing rhymes with orange? Have a think about it. Can you think of anything that actually rhymes with orange? Smorange, jorange, lorange. Not really, right? But there are actually a whole bunch of words that will rhyme beautifully with the word orange if we know how to find them. So once you know the rules, you can rhyme any word, even orange. So I'm going to play you a little snippet of an interview with Eminem. And I love this interview because Eminem is an absolute master lyricist, especially when it comes to rhyming. And he explains this beautifully. Just have a listen and see how many words he can rhyme with orange.
Like people say that the word orange doesn't rhyme with anything. And that kind of pisses me off because I can think of a lot of things that rhyme with orange.
What rhymes with orange?
I put my orange 4-inch door hinge in storage and ate porridge with George. You just have to figure out the science to breaking down words.
Right, so Eminem just rhymed 4-inch, door hinge, storage, porridge, and George. I think George was a little bit of a stretch, but we'll give him that one. But I loved what he said in that last little part there. He said, you just have to figure out the science to breaking down words. And that's what we're about to do. Introducing imperfect rhyme. Now, as a lyricist, imperfect rhyme is going to be your best friend. Why? Because imperfect rhyme gives us a whole bunch more options. And that's pretty important when we're trying to come up with something original, right? So what is an imperfect rhyme? An imperfect rhyme uses, just like perfect rhyme, it uses identical vowel sounds. So the vowel sound is the same in both words. However, unlike perfect rhyme, the consonants that follow the vowel are not the same. For example, speak and weed. Now, speak and weed both use the vowel sound E. Speak, weed. But the consonants following that vowel are different. So speak ends with a K and weed ends with a D. Make sense? Now I want to talk about vowel sounds for a minute. So when we rhyme in lyrics, we actually just need to rhyme the vowel sound. We don't need to rhyme the consonant, and there's a reason for that. And that reason is when we sing, we actually sing vowels. We don't sing consonants. So if I was to use that example of speak and weed, if I was to sing that, I'm only singing the vowel sound. So speak, weed. I'm only singing that E, right? I'm not singing k or t. You can barely hear that when it's sung. So speak, weed, rhyme beautifully. Make sense? Okay. So we're not singing the consonant, so we don't need to worry about that when we're rhyming. Now, when I say vowel sounds, I'm not referring to the A, E, I, O, U that you learn in English, right? When we are actually singing, there's a lot more vowel sounds. For example, you can see a bunch of them here. So ah in father, in met, meet, I, wide, it, and so on and so forth. The vowel sound is really the sound we're making when we sing the word. If we look at the word orange, we'll see that it has 2 syllables. Orange, orange, 2 syllables. And there's a vowel sound for each of those syllables. So we can break it up into orange, o-e. Make sense? Which means orange can be rhymed with any other 2-syllable words that use those vowel sounds, that use o and e. For example, porridge, storage. So we heard Eminem rhyme orange, porridge, storage. It rhymes. Well, it rhymes imperfectly, but in my opinion, imperfect rhymes are much more interesting. Orange can also be rhymed with 2 single-syllable words, so 2 words with 1 syllable each, that also use those vowel sounds. For example, door hinge, o-e. 2 words, same vowel sounds. Door hinge. 4-inch. You see how this works? This stuff is going to open up the floodgates of potential rhyming possibilities for you when you're writing your lyrics. So I get really excited about this stuff because it's pretty liberating as a lyricist. Now, the pros of imperfect rhyme are exactly that. There are so many more options. So when we've got more options, we've got the opportunity to be much more original with our lyrics. We can also sound much more natural and conversational in our lyrics. They don't sound so forced. And another thing I don't think I've listed here is that we can actually say what we mean better. We can be more specific about what we're meaning because we've got more word options. Okay, so imperfect rhyme is great. The only real cons of imperfect rhyme is that it is slightly less satisfying than perfect rhyme. So that's why I was saying at the start, if you've got a final, like the last rhyme in a section, it's often better to use a perfect rhyme if you can, because it's going to sound a little bit more satisfying than an imperfect rhyme. But it's definitely not a rule. You can do what you want. Next, I want to talk about how you can use this stuff. Hey there, it is Elise here, just briefly interrupting your lesson today to tell you about my brand new online songwriting course, The Song Prescription. The lesson you are currently doing right now is from that course, so if you're enjoying it, you will find over 40 more lessons just like it inside that course. These lessons will take you through the songwriting process step by step, and I will be there at your side every step of the way. And for a very limited time, I'm actually offering students of this course direct access to me as their personal songwriting coach. So if you've got specific questions that are holding you back in your songwriting, you'll be able to ask me directly. Sound good? If you'd like to know more, just click the link in the description. Now let's get back to your lesson. So what we're going to do is create a rhyme bank based on the lyric ideas that you've already written down. You will find this in your course materials, so you'll be able to download that PDF and there'll be a little sheet that you can print out, or you can just do this on a piece of paper or in your book of compost. It's totally up to you. Now, I don't need you to go finding a whole bunch of rhymes for every single word that you've written down, so we're just going to do those, find potential rhyming ideas for some of those lines that you underlined, so your favorite lines. So for example, in mine, I had, it made the forest sound alive. So the rhyming word that I'm going to need, the word I'm going to need a rhyme partner for is alive. Hearing all its voices, and cave of hidden treasures. So I'm going to use those 3 as examples. And then at the end of this lesson, you can go through this process with your own rhymes. Okay? So your rhyme bank's going to look something like this, probably with a lot more lines, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. And what I'm going to need you to do is have access to the internet. So either with a computer or your phone will be fine for this. So I'm going to record my screen here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So this is a website called RhymeZone, and RhymeZone is a site that I use all the time when I'm rhyming. It's just quicker than trying to come up with stuff in your head all the time. It's going to come up with things that you probably wouldn't have thought of on your own. So you can definitely do this based on just your own head, but if you've got access to the internet, RhymeZone is going to be a really helpful tool to you as a songwriter. So my first word is alive. So the first thing I want you to do is think about what's the vowel sounds in that word. So it's a one syllable word, alive, so it's going to have one vowel sound, and that vowel sound is I, alive. Make sense? Now, if I was to type into RhymeZone, alive, and hit go, it's going to give me a whole bunch of words that rhyme with alive. And these are all perfect rhymes, okay? So you can see there's actually quite a few options here, which is great. But how many of them are actually useful? So I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to find a good line of lyric for this song that uses the word hard drive or archive. So I'm only going to be writing down words that I think I could use in my song. So I like thrive and drive. Now that's great, but it'd be nice to have a few more options, wouldn't it? So let's try some imperfect rhymes. To get imperfect rhymes on RhymeZone, hit this the advanced button just in the top right hand corner. Hit advanced. And if we scroll down, we've got all those, all of these words are the perfect rhymes. So they've got the rhyme rating of 100. So they're perfect, they rhyme perfectly. But if we keep scrolling, oh, the rhyme rating drops. So these are imperfect rhymes. But any of these imperfect rhymes are still going to be great rhyming words for my song. So I'm going to have a quick look at this list, and I'm going to write down in my rhyme bank any words that pop out to me as potential good rhyming partners for my word alive. I've come up with cries, prize, rise, wise, and disguise. So loads of great options there. The next word I want to find rhymes for is voices. Now this is a 2-syllable word, voices. So it's going to have 2 vowel sounds. And those vowel sounds are oi, voi, and ss. Now if you listen to it carefully, you can hear the vowel sound is or voices, voices. It's, yeah, something like that. Close enough, it's fine. Now if I type voices into RhymeZone and hit search, the only word that has 100% rhyme rating, so the only perfect rhyme for voices, is choices. It's not a bad word, so I'm going to write that down. Choices. But if we look through this list a little more, maybe there's some other options that we can use. Some other imperfect rhymes. Now there's a lot of words in here that I'm not going to use, like Sawyers. I'm not really writing a song about space, so that one's probably not going to be useful to me. But how about poisons? Not really sure if I can find a place for that word in this song, but I'm going to write it down anyway, as it's quite a nice word. It's a poetic word. How about this one? Rejoices. So rejoices. Oi, right? Imperfect rhyme. Let's write those down. So not a heap of great options for that one, but certainly got some possibilities to work with. The last word I want to rhyme is treasures. So once again, type it into RhymeZone, hit go. Now it's given me 2 perfect rhymes, measures and pleasures. They've got the 100% rhyme rating. Oh, I've missed a step. So go back a step. The vowel sounds in treasures are, let's listen, treasures. So 2-syllable word. First one is tre, and then treasures, treasures. So it's again. So and So you can hear that in those perfect rhymes. You've got measures and pleasures. Okay, let's write those down because they're both pretty good words. How about imperfect rhymes? There's actually heaps here, heaps of really great ones. So feathers, endeavors, enters, letters. Another good option is to take the S off the end, because remember that's a consonant, so it's not going to matter in our, oh, let me type, there we go. It's not going to matter if we get rid of that S. We don't really need a word that's got an S on the end. So we can write treasure. Okay, so that's given us a few more options. Together, better, ever, forever, never, so many options. So just put a couple of my favorites down there. So can you see that by creating a rhyme bank, you're actually giving yourself a ton of ideas to rhyme with, and your little brain can start thinking about lines that might use some of these words. So what I want you to do is print off that rhyme bank worksheet in your course materials and write down all the words, the last words of the lines that you underlined, so your favorite lines that you came up with. I want you to write down the last word in each of those lines, like I've done here. Figure out the vowel sounds, and then put down a whole bunch of potential rhyming words that you can use. Sound good? Reckon you can do that? I reckon you can.